The night is in full swing. Wealthy men are watching the performances of girls and boys, and Andy is trying to control everything that happens in the club at the moment when he notices his boss, Mr. Kim. He smiles nervously, immediately running up to him and nodding his head in greeting. "Good evening. We weren't expecting for you today. This is my club." Andy Taekook chuckles as he takes off his coat and straightens the sleeves of his shirt. "I'll come here when I need to, and I'm not obliged to warn anyone." "Why yes, sir." "Of course, sir." Looking around, the man notices numerous guests and the satisfied faces of men, while one of the dancers is spinning at the pole. "I'll be in my office. Want to check some documentation. Have them bring me a good whiskey." "No ice. Will be done, Mr. Taekook." Andy nods to him, folding his hands behind his back like he always does. Anything else for you, Sir?" Taekook looks around the room again, squinting a little, and licks his dry lips. "Not yet," he ponders, pointing a finger at him and brushing the collar of the boy's shirt. "Perhaps I'll come down to watch the show a little later. Rest assured that you will hold the VIP area on the balcony for me." "Yes, Mr. Kim." Andy nods obediently again as the man is about to turn around towards his hallway. He hesitates, biting his tongue a moment before asking again. "I beg your pardon, HM?" Another question. Taekook turns to him, frowning a little and pursing the corner of his mouth. "Should I invite you to a performance of someone particular today?" he asks politely, not wanting the owner to suddenly realize that he missed the right performance, if there is one. "Yeah," Taekook nods, and a hint of a smile flickering across his lips. "Notify me when it's baby Jungkook's turn," and he walks off to his office. With a confident step, with a straight back, hanging his own coat on the crook of his elbow and typing something in his expensive smartphone. Jungkook. Well, it looks like Andy's in the shit. He definitely is. Andy paces nervously down the hallway near the dressing rooms, biting the knuckle of his index finger and thinking about how soon he will be kicked out of this place if he doesn't come up with something right now. Me was too convincing, describing how Jungkook is dying from a sudden cold, so Andy is trying to come up with at least some kind of scenario that would save him his position. Mr. Kim looks hesitantly into the office, hearing a call come in after his knock. Andy looks at the man who is sitting at his desk. There are several laid out documents in front of him, and he is typing something on his phone. "I'm already listening, Andy." "Do not waste my time standing here in complete silence." The man nods to him, not looking up from typing. And Andy, taking more air into his lungs, begins to speak. "Mr. Kim, tell me, maybe I could invite you to watch someone else's show. You know, Jackson's got a new dance. He will perform it for the first time tomorrow, but I could ask him to do it today, and, did I not express myself clearly when I told you who I want to look at?" The man does not even look up at him. And this, with his steely tone, makes Sandy's blood run cold even faster. "Yes, sir, I thought it would be more interesting. You know, Jungkook isn't in that high demand, and dance is quite mediocre, and Mr. Hanbin." Taekook puts the phone down in annoyance and finally looks at him from under furrowed brows. "Did you come to my office, even though I did not call for you here, to tell me whose performance I should want to see? Be pleased, I would like to decide for my own, who, in my opinion, dances mediocre and who does not. Any more questions?" "I'm sorry, sir," and he lowers his head in shame. "Just wanted to suggest it so that you're not disappointed in your choice, Mr. Kim." Taekook squints, scanning the guy. His lowered head, the way he avoids eye contact, the way he clasps his hands behind his back, and the way he tries to control the nervous tapping of his feet on the floor. "Hanbin," the man calls out, rubbing his chin. "Look me in the eye." "Yes, sir," the guy nods, raising his head, and looks timidly at the boss. He continues, slightly narrowing his eyes again. "You do not want to tell me that I will not see the show that I want to see today, don't you, sir?" Answer my questions, Andy. I did not ask you for any other monologues. No, Mr. Kim, it's all right. You will see what you wish. I really hope so." The man chuckles coldly, nodding at him. "If not, instead of baby Cookie, you'll have to climb that pole yourself. And if you think even for a second that this is a joke, I'm happy to convince you otherwise. Everything will be at its best, Mr. Kim." The guy nods at him, looking, as it seems, even more nervous. But Tae-hyung does not wish to give it any importance yet. I'll invite you when it's his turn to come out. Can't he start earlier?" Tae-hyung frowns, waving his hand vaguely. "I'm not going to spend all night here, and I am almost done with my business. I'd like to see his show as soon as possible." "I'm sorry, sir, but Jungkook." "He what?" "I hate it when people mumble. Andy, you'd better remember that faster." "I'm sorry, Mr. Kim. In short, I don't think Jungkook can perform earlier." "Why, he's already booked for private dances for the next hour." "I'm sorry, Mr. Kim. I'm not sure I could cancel that." "Fine." Tae-hyung sighs, leaning back in his chair, and picks his phone up again. But when Andy continues to stand still, the man has to raise an annoyed look at him again. "Anything else, Mr. Hanbin? If not, leave my office. And order me another whiskey." "Yes, sir," and Andy's out the door before his heart beats again. Well, if Mr. Kim wants to see baby Cook, then Andy has to get him. Nothing less. Otherwise, he will suffer, right? And Andy doesn't want that. He doesn't want it at all. So he swiftly walks away from the office and from the person who only intimidate him, and quickly takes his phone out of his pocket. "Hey, Dora," he calls out to a waitress, standing next to the counter, chatting with the bartender. "Repeat whiskey with no ice for Mr. Kim," he orders, trying to bring confidence back in his voice, and, receiving a nod, goes on. Straight into one of the hidden corridors, to a place that seems to be his office. Actually, this is surely the general manager's office, in the old closet, which used to be a staff dressing room until it was moved to a new room. But the general manager shows up here once a week, mostly to handle the accounting records, so the rest hangs over Andy and his already fired shift worker. Hanbin closes the door of the tiny room, which contains nothing but an old leather sofa, too tattered to stand in the guest room, a desk, a chair, and a small shelving filled with file folders and junk boxes. He flops down wearily on the couch, tosses the tablet beside him, and takes a deep breath, closing his eyes. "Come on, Lee, it's okay," he mutters to himself. "It's either Jungkook is fired or you are. And you need this job." He opens his eyes, staring confidently at the wall in front of him, and tries to concentrate. "Just be like Tae-hyung. You are Jungkook, boss. You have the right to do this." And, nodding to himself, he dials Jungkook's number. It is 4:30 in the morning, and he just hopes that Jungkook isn't using the night mode on his phone and will hear the call. Jungkook tosses and turns in bed, feeling the heat in his head and chest, and the obsessive thoughts that he missed his exam, flew out of college and ended up on the street cannot allow him to sleep peacefully. Moz's annoyed voice and the pounding on the wall between their rooms finally pulls Jungkook out of his sleep. He springs in his bed, rubbing his eyes to get used to the darkness, and tries to figure out where the sound is coming from. And then he looks at his phone, lying on the floor by the bed, connected to the charger, and sees that it is blowing up from a call. Andy the manager flashes on the screen, and Jungkook's sleepy brain takes a moment to assume that he notified their boss, and now he's furious that Jungkook did not show up for work. And then he answers the call. Yes, Jungkook reads in a hoarse from sleep voice, trying not to be too loud and not to piss off already angry, drunk Moz, who is trying to sleep, or whatever he's doing there. Jungkook is not so interested. Jungkook. Finally the guy lets out a sigh of relief. Jungkook can hear it even through his choring speaker. I'm calling you for the third time. Why the hell are you not picking up? Because I was sleeping? Why the hell are you sleeping? During your work hours didn't me tell you I was sick? Jungkook dares to ask, rubbing his stiff neck. She did. But that doesn't matter now. Get dressed. What? Why you have to come over and dance? No, I don't. Jungkook. Andy hisses, his voice sounds too annoyed, as far as Jungkook can tell. Get dressed and come over here now. You have to perform. How imagine this? Andy, I'm sick. I feel really bad. You know when it gets worse? When are you? Why the hell would you fire me? Jungkook snorts. Well, you don't have any sick leave, do you? It turns out that you've just skipped your work, ruined the show, disrupted so many orders. Andy begins to list slowly, deciding to try a different way. Blackmailing? Are you blackmailing me? Absence because I don't have a sick leave? I don't really think you even have health coverage. Andy lets out a chuckle, and Jungkook is too sleepy and tired to hear the hint of desperation hidden behind his rudeness. Send me your address. I will order you a taxi right now. You must come over and dance. Job Jungkook. That's non-negotiable. Why is it so urgent? You have a lot of dancers today. You're the one who's needed. Who the f***s me? Someone too important for you to keep asking questions? Jungkook. Send me your address immediately and put on. The car will be there soon. I'm not going anywhere. Andy, come on. I need you to dance only once. Then you can leave. Are you really pulling a sick me out of the house for one dance? Yes. Otherwise, next time you can think you no longer have the job. Are you happy with this perspective? What an asshole you're. Andy, I'm waiting for the address, he commands and then just hangs up. Jungkook groans insofar as he leans back against the pillow, though sends his address to Andy. And then, with a sigh, he forces himself to get out of warm hugs of a blanket and step into the bathroom at least to wash his face, because the shower is out of the question as the taxi will arrive maximum in 10 minutes.